My husband is currently on vacation with his mistress, and I'm gonna confront them. My husband's always had a lot of work trips. Little did I know that work trips were code for an excuse he can use to go see his married coworker halfway across the country without his wife finding out. I wish I could say the way I found out about his affair was that I did some super sleuthing. No, my husband is just an idiot. Last month, my husband sent me a screenshot of an Amazon order he placed for new clothes for himself, and at the very bottom of the screenshot, I saw that there was an order for women's clothes that were not my style. And when I looked at the name of who it was being sent to, I saw that it was his work wife. Something did not sit right with me about that. So I immediately went and checked his email and his search history, and it was right there, laid out in front of me, the entire affair. That November leadership conference he was supposed to go to for his job, yeah, no, that was a romantic getaway. Like, I should have known. Who would even want him at a leadership conference? He's a freaking loser. Oh, but this business trip he left for today, it's luxurious. It is a spa vacation with couples massages and cooking classes and monogrammed robes from Etsy. He always told me he thought monograms were tacky, but I guess people change. And has this man ever taken me to a spa? No. The most romantic place we've been to in the last year is a Buffalo Wild Wings. And listen, I love Buffalo Wild Wings, but they do not offer couples massages. So when I found this out last month, I was hurt, devastated, angry, all of the feelings that you feel. But I kept it together and I didn't say anything, because if that man's gonna cheat on me, I'm gonna get my revenge. For the past month, I have been my husband's idea of the perfect wife. Betty Crocker who? I was making a new pastry every single day, okay? Honestly, I've gotten really good. I should start a little bakery or something. I was doting over him like he wasn't a lying, cheating loser. But today's the day. Today, he left for his work trip, and the month I put into biting my tongue, it's gonna pay off. My flight leaves in a few hours because I booked a room at the same romantic resort as they're in. I mean, I have to get used to that joint bank account before the divorce. Buckle up, because here's the plan. I found the itinerary of what my husband and his mistress are going to be doing on the trip. So at a time when they're getting a couples massage or doing something where they're going to be out of the room for a while, I'm going to go to the concierge and say that I need an extra key to me and my husband's hotel room. Now, I literally have a credit card with his name on it, so I don't think it's going to be an issue getting an extra key. Then I'm going to go into their room, and I'm going to use the month's worth of evidence I've compiled, which includes credit card receipts, photos, emails, everything. And I'm going to tape them all around the hotel room. And right in the middle, I'm going to tape up the divorce papers that I've already signed. Right next to them, his mistress's husband's divorce paper that he signed. Now, he didn't want to go all the way to the resort with me, but he was in on it. I'm also going to tape up the cheating clause that's in our prenup, because I'm going to remind him that he just lost a lot of money. And then the next day, little did they know, we're all doing group yoga together. I love having his itinerary. This man has underestimated me for the last time, and he's about to pay for my entire spa retreat. Y'all didn't seriously think I was going to leave you hanging on this one, did you? Of course not. I have an update. If you haven't seen part 1, go watch that. But to catch everybody up, I learned that my husband was having an affair and was going to be going on a romantic resort weekend with his mistress. So I decided to confront them and go to the same resort. As I'm on the way to the airport, I get a call from somebody I did not expect to hear from, which was my husband's mistress's husband. And he told me that he's changed his mind, and he actually decided that he wanted to come along to the resort and see the revenge happen firsthand, which was so exciting for me. I said, do not even worry about it, babe. I will book you a room on my husband's card, because again, he deserves it. He's the worst. You know what I mean? So, he owes you too. He's having an affair with your wife. He owes you a nice little weekend. Now, for the sake of the story, we're going to call my husband's mistress's husband Jack, because husband's mistress's husband, that's a mouthful, okay? I made sure that me and Jack's rooms were both on the opposite ends of my husband and his mistress's room. So we were really just sandwiching them in for the weekend. As soon as I got to the resort, I went right up to my room to hide, because the worst thing that could happen is my husband or his mistress seeing me before this whole plan commenced. It would have ruined everything. So I kind of hid in my room until Jack arrived. And when he did, our plan began, because he brought all of his evidence of his wife's affair. So we had a ton of papers that we were ready to hang all around their room. I saw in their itinerary that they had lunch planned and then a couples massage. So we didn't have a lot of time, but we had about 2.5 hours, which was more than enough for us to get our plan into action. I go down to the concierge and I play the little damsel in distress role. I'm like, I am so sorry to bother you, but I must have misplaced the key to me and my husband's hotel room. And I am just so embarrassed about it. He's always saying I'm losing things, and I don't want him to know I lost it. Is there any way that you could just get me another key? Honestly, it was kind of concerning how easily I was able to get a key to their room. He just asked for the name on the room. I told him it was my husband's name. I showed him a credit card with my husband's name on it, and I showed him my ID, which had our shared last name, and he printed me a copy. And that's where our plan really took off, because we went into my husband and his mistress's room and we started taping all the evidence to the walls. Obviously, right in the center were those signed divorce papers and the prenup with the cheating clause that showed that my husband was going to lose a ton of money based on this little affair. Knowing about the affair for a month before doing this helped so much, because I was already desensitized to the whole thing. So I was really just enjoying the plan rather than being sad about it. After we were done hanging all the evidence on the walls, we went back to my hotel room to patiently wait for them to return. And we knew when they did, based on his mistress's loud shriek. Now remember, our hotel rooms were right next to theirs, so we could hear everything that was going on. We couldn't hear exactly word for word what they were saying, but we could tell there was a lot of commotion. And within 3 minutes of them getting back, they were blowing up both of our phones. My husband was calling me, his mistress was calling Jack over and over and over, and we were living it up. It was hilarious. We finally decide that I should be the one to answer, so I pick up the phone when my husband calls for the 1,000,000th time, and I'm just cool, calm, and collected, and I'm like, hey babe, what's up? How's your work trip? And he's like, Kels, what is going on? And I was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, don't play dumb with me. And I was like, what? Oh, are you talking about the surprise I left you in your room? Yeah, I thought that was really cute, right? And then he starts, this is all a misunderstanding. You have no idea what's going on. I was like, it's obviously not a misunderstanding. Did you see all the evidence? Like, it's all right there. Like, this is clearly not a misunderstanding, but it's cute. You're still trying to argue and gaslight me. Aw, like our entire marriage. Then he's like, when I find out what employee helped you put all these things up, I'm gonna make sure they're fired. And that's when I realized he doesn't think I'm actually there. He thinks that I worked with somebody at the resort and they went in and hung all that stuff up. This was way more fun than I thought. I said, babe, you know what you always tell me? If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself. And that's when the line goes dead silent. And when he starts talking again, I can hear the panic in his voice. He's like, Kels, don't mess with me right now. You're home, right? I know you have to be home. Like, you're home, right? And I was like, babe, calm down. I just thought it wasn't fair that you were gonna get a nice little resort weekend and I wasn't. I was like, don't worry, babe. I'm sure you'll see me around. It's not that big of a resort. And just so you know, I'm staying an extra 3 days so that you have time to get home and move all your stuff out of our house before I get home. Then I hung up and blocked his number. Part 1 of our plan went perfectly, but part 2 of the plan, ruining their entire weekend, that had just started. I'm back with the update you've all been waiting for. Do I look refreshed? Do I look rested? My husband's not. If you haven't seen the first 2 parts of this story time, go watch those first and then come back here. But to catch everybody up, I found out that my husband was having an affair and he was gonna be going on a resort spa weekend with his mistress. So me and his mistress's husband, Jack, showed up at the resort, put the evidence of the affair all over their hotel room, and now we're ready to be even more petty for the entire weekend. So at this point, my husband's mistress still has no idea that her husband, Jack, is there. They just think that I'm the one that did all of this, and Jack's not answering any of her calls. We decided that even though they can know I'm there, he needs to be a surprise, okay? We need some kind of surprise factor still. I was worried that they were gonna go home right after they walked into their hotel room and saw all the evidence on the walls, but I know my husband and he's a petty man and he hates to lose. He would see leaving the resort because I showed up as losing, so I knew that he was gonna stay and he was gonna try to prove that he didn't even care that I was there. At this resort, you have to reserve private cabanas by the pool, so I went down to the concierge, gave them my husband's name, and said I wanted to reserve the cabana right next to theirs. Be so fun to spend the weekend at pooling together. But that's not all. A little backstory is that me and my husband live in the city that his company's headquarters is in. So about a year ago, they flew in a ton of their employees from other states to go to this work conference in their headquarter building, which is how he met his work wife and now mistress. And the wild part is I met his mistress that weekend too, because I went to one of his work events on that weekend and she was hanging around him the whole time. But at this work event, I got really cold and she offered to give me her cardigan that she was wearing. I thought it was so nice at the time. Yeah, it doesn't seem so nice anymore. But at the end of the night when I got home, I realized I completely forgot to give it back to her and she was flying back halfway across the country the next day. So I just had her cardigan. I can't think of a better time to return it to her. Now remember, I knew exactly when they were going to the pool because I had their itinerary. So about 30 minutes after I assumed they would be arriving at the pool, me and Jack made our grand entrance. This was the first time that either of them had actually seen us since we showed up, and they both looked like they were about to projectile vomit everywhere. It was incredible, a beautiful sight. I plopped my stuff right down on the cabana next to theirs. I'm like, this is insane. Y'all are at this cabana. What are the odds? This is so exciting. We get to just hang by the pool, talk, like really get to know each other. This woman's face, priceless. I look at my husband's mistress and I'm like, I cannot believe you cheated on Jack. He's really good looking. Like, you kind of let a good one get away. Oh, and that made her mad. Yeah, that made her mad. She started getting angry, tears in her eyes for sure. Like, girlie, what are you getting mad about? I thought we were doing wife swap. Isn't that what we're up to? My husband keeps trying to get me to like go and talk to him somewhere. He's like, come on, Kels, come on. Like, let's go. We need to talk. And I was like, what? I'm with my friends. I'm busy. Stop it. That's when I reach into my beach bag, grab the cardigan, and I'm like, girl, I am so sorry. I totally forgot to give this back to you. I hate taking what's not mine. And that's the point that my husband took his mistress by the arm and walked them off. But I wasn't done, because a few hours later was sunset group yoga. Jack and I made sure to get there a little bit before them so that when they walked up, they saw us sitting there. We were like, guys, come on, like come sit by us. They did not end up attending group yoga. It was really fun though, okay? They kind of missed out. But this last part is my personal favorite. I knew the two of them had a really romantic dinner reservation. So, while they went out to dinner, me and Jack decided to order room service. But not to our room. Do not ask me why my husband did not decide to get new key cards for the room, but it still worked when I tried to let us in. Jack and I made ourselves comfy in their hotel room, bought an insane amount of room service, and put a little movie on the TV. I wish I could frame the image of the two of them walking back into their hotel room, arm in arm, seeing me and Jack having the time of our life, just vibing in their hotel room. My husband starts screaming at Jack, being like, this is ridiculous, you need to get out of here. And I was like, hey, don't talk to my man like that. Then his mistress starts screaming at me, which I was just laughing. Like, I couldn't take it seriously. Like, at this point, it felt just like a movie. I was like, you know what? I'm so here for the plot right now. And that's when my husband goes, you know what? This is ridiculous. I'm done. Looks at his mistress and he's like, grab your stuff. We're leaving. I watched them pack up their stuff and leave the hotel room. I learned a few hours later from a very angry text I got from my husband that he literally changed their flights and they left. They fully ended their weekend early. I won. But I still had like 4 days of a resort vacation, so I turned my phone off and I spent the rest of the week just having the time of my life. And while my husband was sulking, packing all of his stuff up and moving out of our home, I was getting a really nice tan.
Hi guys, thank you so much again for clicking on the video. Thank you for watching. What are your opinions on what she's saying about her relationship, about the husband being away at a luxurious resort with another woman, or the mistress? My opinion is always to be in the position that you can leave if something like that happened. I know a lot of time we get so comfortable being in a stay-at-home mom, or as a person that the husband is contributing more than you're trying to. I'm not trying to contribute the same amount as my husband is, but I always want to keep myself in the position that if my husband decides to leave or something happen, that I can stand on my own. So that's my takeaway from this video. What are yours? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.